do fall forward lately on North Temple Avenue, you'll be surprised as they have started paving the new parking lot and preparing to remodel the entire building. This is a multi-million-dollar improvement to the facilities that is expected to continue for the next couple of months.
And it's looking great. I actually
is.
drove by there this afternoon.
It really is, yeah. And Stark Fire Rescue is completing their Christmas decorations in addition to their giant Christmas fire safety wreath. For those of you that don't know, the Keep the Wreath Green campaign is in its second year, and each December the firefighters participate by illuminating a giant wreath in green bulbs, and every time that there's a house fire with some significant damage or anything like that, one of the green bulbs is replaced with a red bulb. It's important to note that at this point, we've gone day 3, there's no red bulbs, no house fires, and it's important that the community practice good fire safety techniques and tips to keep the wreath green. Hey, don't forget that Bradford High School will have its special monument dedication this Friday. That is this Friday, December 6th. The dedication is for all fallen heroes who have graduated from Bradford High School. The event starts at 10 a.m., and the on-the-spot team will be there for this event, and we're looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. Finally, here's Austin's Weather Service quick and dirty forecast for the region. We've had some of the coldest weather of the season so far. It is expected to continue to a certain point. Look for a little bit of a warm-up as we go through the next few days, but we will see
Breakfast with Santa, starting from 8:30 to 10 a.m. Then later on that day, Southside Elementary will be having their winter festival.
Cool.
And that will start at 4 o'clock to 7 p.m. So some great things for the kids to do as we start to move in toward Christmas. Also coming up the next following weekend is the Christmas on Call Street. It's going to be a good-sized event. It starts Friday night. And you can get carriage rides Friday night if they still have some tickets that are out there. They may be sold out by now. Now, Saturday is going to be a fun-filled day of all kinds of activities. It starts at 10 a.m. and it will run until whenever it gets over. Some of those events are, they're going to have vendors downtown. We're going to have a car show from 2 to 5. There's going to be a Christmas pageant. Then, of course, the parade's at 6 o'clock. They're going to do a reading of the Christmas story and a lighting of the Christmas tree.
Cool.
So, and then the fun doesn't stop there. It continues on over until Sunday, where you can go ahead and make reservations at the Downtown Grill, and you can have breakfast with Santa then.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of great things happening, and I want to urge everybody that lives here in Bradford County, please come out and come to this event. The more support that we have for our community for doing these types of things gives us feedback to have more things down the road.
Yeah.
And I want to take the time to send a big thank you to the downtown merchants. They're actually the ones that's putting this on. I know it's a lot of work. A lot of people has been driving by, and when you go by the downtown square, you can see all the lights that are up. You can see the gazebos out there. That's where Santa Claus is going to sit, so their kids can get pictures with him. And also on that note, when you're doing your Christmas shopping, please think about shopping local. I know that we had Shop Small Saturday just this last week, but that doesn't mean that we just stop shopping local. So please continue that, because without your support going to those stores, the downtown merchants might not be able to put on events like this.
Oh, yeah.
So then I'm going to get into some news. We didn't have a whole lot of people on Saturday night because of the football games that were going on. Of course, my Florida Gators took care of the other Florida team.
Was there any doubt?
Well,
No, I mean,
I put it this way.
There was no doubt. There was no doubt.
I
Man.
put it this way. I believe Florida State would have played better than what they did.
If they had a different coach.
I-
I'm not talking about Odell Higgins. I'm talking about the one we've had for the last 2 years. And by the way, when we get into the sports, there is a little bit of a teaser I'm going to give until Saturday about that subject.
All right. Well, on into the news. I mentioned about the Bradford County Commissioner meeting. Had a meeting on Fire Station 10 where Danny Reddick, the commissioner at District 4, got up and showed how the money was spent on the fire station. going through. It was, started out $300,000. Then it moved to $500,000. And then it moved up again because they ended up having to do a bid bond on the fire station to be built, and so that put it up to $700,000. All said and done, the station has cost the taxpayers of Bradford County $900,000. So, and during this presentation, it was shown on the screen at the commissioner meeting that we actually have a garage and not a fire station, and it was there in black and white. And my thing is, why? Why do we spend all this money on what we have now instead of what we should have had? And so I got up and spoke at that commissioner meeting, and I told them what I thought and what it has to have to be a fire station. And I went back to my seat and I sat down, and Commissioner Reddick said something to me. I can't remember word for word, so I'm not going to say it. But my thing was back. I commend Chris Daltrey for letting me speak from the audience. But my thing was, we have been told it was a fire station. Then we brought an outside fire inspector in. He says, no, you don't have a fire station, you got a warehouse. Then we find out, well, we're going to call it a fire station anyway. And in this county commissioner meeting, we find out that it's a garage.
And I have a question for you. How do you operate a government out of a garage? I'm not trying to be funny, but that fire station has tax collector's office in it, correct?
Right, and that's one of the things I did mention to them at the commissioner meeting when I was up there speaking. I said, it's not just a place to store fire trucks. It's not just a fire department. We do have an annex building there that's for the tax collectors. And to me, I don't think
they shouldn't be in there.
They don't have the fire protection that they should have in case of emergency. If something happens out in that garage area to one of those fire trucks and they catch on fire, there's nothing to give them notice that there's a fire going out there in those bays.
No.
And it's not just for the ladies who work in that tax collector's office, but it's also for the public that is coming into there every single day that are paying their taxes and getting taxed for their vehicles.
And want to talk about a nightmare scenario. If that ever actually happened, you would actually have to have a fire squad come from a different station to put a fire out in the new station.
Well, I know our sheriff. He's been working really hard, and that's the one thing I can say. We got a great man, Sheriff Smith.
Once this has been done, I mean, what is he supposed to do in this short time? I mean,
he's got a 3-year plan,
right,
to correct it, which he's got the plan put in place, and I commend him on that and all of his hard work. And DK Bennett's and Captain Conkell, they've been working really hard, and also the men and women of our fire department has been working very hard on finding out what we really need for that station to make it a legitimate station, which we should have had in the first place.
Right, and you can't put this on the firefighters. You can't put it on the people that are in charge now.
Right.
And whether crazy things happened or whether it was just
right. Well, and
incompetence, or I mean, something has gone on with this that we've looked into and we've found out certain things about, and the public needs to continue to stay on top of this because guess what? We're $900,000 in a hole for a garage.
Right. And my whole thing, a meeting before that, I actually spoke, and I told the commissioners, I said, we made y'all made a real bad mistake, or someone made a real bad mistake. And the thing is, I don't think it should come out of the taxpayers' pockets, and I definitely sure didn't think it should come out of the sheriff's budget. And that's what I said at one of the commissioners' meetings prior. But the good thing is he's got a plan in place, and I do have some good news, even though that's kind of bad news. Fire Station 20, they got the living quarters going in. I stopped by there today.
Cool.
They're setting it up, so moving forward with that. They started putting the ramps and everything at Sampson City's fire station on that building. So we got a lot of good stuff that's going on.
For the people that don't know, where is Fire Station 20?
Fire Station 20 is Theresa.
Okay, so they're actually putting sleeping quarters in
Right.
Theresa.
And the plan
I
was
thought they already had sleeping quarters in Theresa.
No.
That's the ambulance bay. Never mind.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
this is what's happening. You speak of EMS.
Right.
With these living quarters going in there,
Right.
they're going to take EMS out. They're going to move them to Theresa, and they will be able to use those living quarters. And so that saves us from paying $1,000 a month rent on a house,
on that
and a
house.
light bill.
Right.
So that frees up some money. So we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. Now, on one other note, I want to let everybody know that 21B has been a real dangerous intersection for a while. Me and Tom Germano, we have been talking to several people. We've been talking to FDOT. And then we said, hey, what the heck? We'll go down there to the road department and we'll speak to Mr. Dodds. So we went down there last Tuesday and spoke to Mr. Dodds about the entrance way of the collection site there at 21B. So I pretty much had a plan in place, and Tom Germano, he was on board with it too after we had discussed it. And that was to separate the entrance and exit there at that dump. Because as of right now, you got people entering and trying to exit at the same time. Because when you come out those ramps, the way that you do now, you have to come back around and you want to be on the right side. That's the correct side to be when you're driving to go to a stop sign. So, and they're like almost having head-on collisions right there at the collection site.
Isn't there a gate on the other side of those ramps, though? It's
No.
been a while since I've been. I thought
No.
there was a gate there.
No.
Maybe not.
No, it's just a fence that runs on down.
Fence.
Right.
Okay.
So our suggestion was to put some arrows down and lead them back around the back side of the dump, let them go over the ramps, and then when they come back out, they're on the correct side. And I said, we need some kind of median there. And Mr. Dodds, he came up with a great plan. He says, we can put those poles with the reflectors there, and that'll kind of break it up even more and make it more safe. And then I found out that they're even going to take some more fencing back, make it even wider, so people can drive out enough where they can see. And they're also going to talk to the gentleman that owns the piece of land right next to it. There's like a privacy fence up.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to him about taking that privacy fence down where people can see across there when they're going to leave to the left. So a lot of good things happen. I know Mr. Dodds, Danny Reddick, and Benny Jackson, they went out there and looked at it. And it was discussed at the county commissioner meeting on December the 2nd. And I think they're going to move forward, so that'll make that intersection a whole lot safer. And hopefully that'll cut down on accidents, because a lot of that is just because of confusion or people on these and not paying attention. That's most of the problem.
You got to get the DOT to move the speed limit down there because it's 60.
Well,
I drive down that road every time I come home from this, and my parents live here in Stark. And I
Right.
drive home. I mean, people don't. People think 60 means 65, 70. They don't
Right.
think it means 60. And when you come around that curve, driving that fast, even if you're not on that phone, and somebody's trying to get out of that dump, that's pretty dangerous.
Right. Well, you're speaking of that, the dangerous areas from County Road 18 all the way to 21B is
Oh yeah.
like one of the most dangerous intersections is coming out there in 21B. Well, there's a lot of things happening at the Keystone Airport. There's going to be a new road going into the Keystone Airport. There's a section of the highway that's probably going to have to be widened out because they got to put a turning lane in for trucks to enter in and out of that area. So they're going to be doing a survey from 18 all the way to 21B, probably here in the next 4 months.
That'd be
Of
good.
that whole area through there, and see what kind of adjustments need to be made.
If they're going to do all of that with the Keystone Airport, there might need to be a traffic light right there.
Well, there is possibility. We'll have to find out what's going on with the study.
Okay.
I know definitely the speed limit's going to have to slow down. I mean, to me, it's kind of dangerous right there at 21B and 18, where the speed limit is 60 miles an hour.
Oh, I get it.
And you got a gas station right across the road of 18, and And some people are trying to make it all the way across there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, there is some sort of caution sign that's right there before that, isn't there?
No.
Oh, that's just a little bit further
No.
about the school zone.
It's the school zone for Hope Christian Academy. They got a
mile per hour speed zone. I wouldn't be opposed for them turning that school zone into 35. Because
Right.
you're still talking about kids running around. So,
right.
let's say hello to our viewers real quick.
Well, we got Dwight Allen.
Good evening, brother.
We got Connie Wilson.
Good evening, Connie.
Noah Gibson.
Good evening, Noah.
Oh, look at there. There's Rob.
Brother Rob Barrick.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening.
Maggie Wiggs.
Maggie, how are you doing tonight?
Chris Palmer.
Hello, Chris.
Archie Waters.
Hello, Archie. And yes, I got a pretty good buck. Thank you.
Alan Hunsinger.
Alan, how are you doing tonight?
Lucy Davis.
Lucy, good
Dorothy
evening.
Starlin.
Dorothy, good
And,
evening.
and look at there. Our very own show pony.
The
Very own
Slacker show pony is on with us.
So, I mean, that's pretty much all that I
Watching
have.
from South America, Alan Hunsinger is
Wow.
saying. Where in South America, Alan?
He's down there for his.
Yeah, I want to say he's in Colombia.
Colombia, cool.
I believe.
Cool.
I
Cool.
believe. I'm not sure. I believe. So.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all that I have, mostly for local news. I know we got more events that's going to be coming up as we get closer to Christmas, and we will keep everybody informed with that. But please don't forget about the dedication of the monument at the Bradford High School Friday from 10 to 11. Yours truly will be speaking on the behalf of the Hampton Veterans Memorial Fund. It's going to be a good time, and what better time to celebrate our fallen veterans the day before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually pass it right on over to you.
Okay.
And let you talk about what's happening in national news.
Well, there's been some pretty good national news that has gone on today, and one of them is that Kamala Harris has dropped out of the presidential race, and from what I understand, she has basically said that she is not getting the funding she needs to continue on with the race. She's dropped out. At one point, she was leading in the polls, and then second, and then third, and I think she fell a little bit further than that. It's pretty amazing that more of these people have not dropped out.
Right.
Because what is it, 20 now that are running, and now we've got Bloomberg running too.
Right.
Yeah, Doomberg. Yeah, he's got a snowball's chance. Just like, well, I mean, it's not just like the rest of them. There are some people that the Democrats could run that would give Trump a good run for it, but I don't think they're going to put him in because they're listening.
They don't fit their criteria.
Well, they're listening to the wrong part of their base is what they're doing. And the other part of their base is not speaking up because they don't want to be ostracized about their political opinions. So, Congressman Duncan Hunter, Republican of California, pled guilty to charges of stealing campaign funds. He admitted to taking and using $150,000.
Must have been a good trip.
Now, I will tell you this. I've always said that I don't like corrupt politicians, and I've never. That comes with a D or an R next to it.
That's right.
Duncan Hunter did that. Duncan Hunter deserves whatever he gets because that's not what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be representing us, not taking campaign funds that we give to them to give our voice
Right.
up where up in Washington.
I agree with you 100%.
His original plea when the investigation started was not guilty, and then more and more evidence surfaced, and he switched his plea today.
Oh, well,
When you're caught, you're caught.
it doesn't, and like I said, and it doesn't matter. You're a politician. You go up there and do something illegal. You should pay the price for
Exactly.
it. I wanted to talk a little bit about something else that is going on now. We have an FBI agent who has basically been caught text messaging her other FBI agent, friend, lover, whatever he was, now becoming a CNN analyst. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I have.
Guys, this is unbelievable. This woman gets caught red-handed doing this. The text messages are out there, and CNN is paying her to be an analyst, a commentator. And we're talking about Lisa Page. You may or may not remember this, but she was the one that actually was involved with Peter Strzok. And they left these messages on his BlackBerry, along with different things about talking about having backup plans to keep Donald Trump from being president, and he'll never be president. There's no chances. I hope Hillary Clinton beats him 100 million to 1. And these are all things that are actually documented. I'm not just making these up. You can go look this up. This actually happened. So now what's happened is basically a little bit more of the backing story to that. Peter Strzok's wife found the BlackBerry. By the way, that's not supposed to leave government property either. So he's basically taken a piece of government property away from where it was supposed to be to his home. His wife finds these messages from this other woman, including all of these things, and threatens to go to the media and everybody else, and then all of a sudden this goes out. Okay, so we have all of this going on. She is basically, there's no other way around it. She's committing adultery with a married man. And now, after all of this, we're going to get commentary from her from CNN. Is there something wrong? Is there something wrong with this picture? Are you seeing something wrong with this picture?
It doesn't affect me because I don't watch CNN.
Well, I mean, and I understand that people do crazy things. The president's had problems with that in the past, and there's other people that have had problems with that in the past. But they normally don't get hired by news media to go out and do that, because if you're doing that sort of thing, that doesn't make you very honest. I mean, past records show that that's not very honest. So I'm sitting here listening to all of this about Lisa Page, and I'm going, how do you trust a person like that to give you honesty about anything? And then, of course, we have the Twitter war that's going on between her and President Trump, which I find absolutely hilarious. And then you get all of the stuff from Stroke. Sorry, Rush. Stroke, smirk is what I was about to say. But, we sit back and watch these people do this, and we wonder what the meaning of drain the swamp is. And this is exactly the type of thing that Donald Trump was talking about. Is not Democrats, it's not Republicans, it's a mixture of both of them, and it's a mixture of basically in Washington, D.C., there is a different class, or they think they're in a different class than we are. And he's talking about getting rid of it, and he's doing a pretty good job so far doing that. It's just crazy. It is, it's crazy. And my mother is telling me to change the subject. Why? It's all right, guys. Watch your national politics. The other thing that's, of course, that is going on right now is the impeachment.
Right.
So everybody is tuning. Well, not everybody, but people are tuning in to listen to that, and it's a nightmare. I listened to part of it today, and they were talking about basically exposing the whistleblower.
Right.
And every time that the person that's the minority leader in the Congress went to ask a question about, what was going on with that, they were basically said, you can't expose the whistleblower. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, you can't expose the whistleblower. How can anybody defend themselves if you don't know who you're defending yourself against? You don't know what he said. You don't know how. It just keeps on going on and on and on and on, and it's turned into a circus, is what it's done.
I just want to touch on something real quick. I know a lot of people's asking where David Rodgers is tonight. David Rodgers is actually at the Women's Club. He's DJing for the Bradford County Arc, so he's entertaining them this afternoon. And we will have him back on here Saturday.
Yes. Yeah.
What else you got for us?
I don't really have anything else. Everything else is pretty much revolving around that sideshow circus that's going on up in D.C.
I know the impeachment thing's probably almost near an end anyway.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't. I think they're going to go through with it. I really do. I think they're going to go through with it, and they're going to get their rear ends handed to them when it goes into the Senate, because they'll actually be allowed to call witnesses and call hostile witnesses and everything else.
Now he'll be able to face his accuser then.
Oh yeah,
So,
it turns into a trial is basically what it does. It's a legal hearing is what it is, and that they don't need to do this. What they're going to do is they're going to impeach themselves. I've said that before. They're going to impeach themselves. They're going to lose the Congress is what they're going to do. But
well, are you ready for some sports?
we can do some sports.
I'll tell you what, we're starting to get into the nitty gritty. And of course, talking about sports, we had a great game this past Saturday at Florida Field. If you were a Gator fan, probably not so much if you're a Seminole fan. But I want to say this about Florida State. You're going to have growing pains. Y'all are going to find y'all a good coach. Y'all are going to be back up there in the top 10 before you know it. And then you might be competing for a championship probably within the next 2 to 3 years.
My thoughts on it are, with the right coach, we're going to be competitive next year because the talent is there. We have talented players. They're just really undisciplined.
And the one thing that I seen Saturday night with Florida State, they could not tackle. They could not tackle.
They can when they want to.
It's poor coaching.
They wanted to throw a shoulder instead of wrapping up. They wanted to deliver the big hit, not wrap up and wait for the other guy to come in and help him get him down. And to me, that right there is trying to showboat your own talents instead of playing as a team. You're saying, "Hey, look at me," and you can't do that. Football's a team sport.
It's a team sport. It definitely is.
And I'm telling you, if they start to run that running back out toward the sideline, that corner's got to cut loose and try to cut him back inside and let that linebacker in that corner finish him off.
Yeah.
Don't go up there and try to throw a blow if you're a wide receiver on a running back, because he's going to make you look ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
He's just going to run right over you like a Mack truck. But I wanted to get
if you do try to throw a blow, you better wrap up at the same time.
right.
Because at least if you get run over, you will stop the guy from getting any further. You get run over, which I've seen happen. It's just form tackling.
I'm going to go through the top 10 here. The rankings just came out. Of course, we got LSU number 1. We got Ohio State number 2. Clemson 3. Georgia 4. The Utah Utes moved right on up to 5. Oklahoma 6. And look at that. Florida jumps up to 7th. Baylor 8. Alabama 9. And Wisconsin 10. So we're going to have some major matchups here really soon.
That's what I was about to say. I see at least one, because Ohio State, I believe, is going to have to play Wisconsin in the Big 12.
Right. And then you got LSU that's going to be matched up with Georgia. For the SEC.
Yeah.
So if one of those teams, I say if Georgia loses, how far do they fall? That's the thing. Do they fall enough to actually let the Utah Utes sneak in the top 4? It's very possible.
Here's the question about all of that. If you look at this and you start thinking about these matchups, there's all sort of scenarios that can be played out in this. Let's just hope the one that includes Alabama being in there is not, because somebody is going with one loss from a conference is not going to get in there because that happens again. I don't think it will, because I don't think Alabama's the team that it was. Now,
well, Alabama, I can say they're done. They're not going to move back up. They're done. They can't play for an SEC title, so they don't have that extra game that's going to be on their schedule.
Ohio State did it one year.
I really don't see them doing that.
Hello, Carla.
I'll tell you what's very interesting about this is that the top 25 that came out, actually the college football playoffs, which of course is a different scoring mechanism
Right.
how they do it. They actually have Ohio State as number 1, LSU as number 2, and Florida down at number 9. The top 3 undefeated teams, of course, are Ohio State, LSU, and Clemson. But they're putting LSU at number 2, where others are putting them at number 1. So
Right.
there's not a lot of congruity when it comes to how the system is set up here. Next weekend is going to be very
Right.
interesting to
That's
see how
when
it
all the
all
pieces
plays
are really
out.
going to
And
fall in place.
I'm going to be honest with you, Michael. I think they're all on crack anyway. How do you take a team that wins a national title, goes undefeated that whole season, and is undefeated the whole entire next season, and they're going to beat Virginia Tech in the ACC championship? How do you take that team and not make them number 1?
Well,
I just don't understand that at all.
And again, their concept is strength of schedule. They harp on strength of schedule. I don't buy that either. That being said, I think you're going to see there's going to be a lot of shifting, a lot of moving around like that. But what I find very interesting about it is just what you guys alluded to. I think the SEC championship game, the winner of that game will be the national champion because based on strength of schedule alone, I would be surprised to see, depending on how they play, I would be very interested to see how Clemson or Ohio State deal with LSU. But again, it varies on any given Saturday. But
That's
it's going to
right.
be very interesting to see how they play LSU because I believe LSU will take the SEC championship.
I believe that LSU is going to take the SEC championship too, and I believe they'll beat the brakes off Ohio State is what I believe will happen.
I believe so too.
But until they do that to Clemson, I will not believe that.
No,
That team is so well coached that it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I would be, and I don't disagree with you on that one. But I'm telling you, I think LSU is going to come into that game. I think because of strength of scheduling, they've kind of worked themselves out, which is the whole reason why that Clemson is 3rd.
Right.
Regardless.
Ahmed speaks.
Well, I tell you what. I'm telling you, LSU beats Georgia in the SEC
Sorry, Michael.
championship. Utah moves up. Utah moves in. Alabama's doesn't have a chance. They're done.
Here's another.
Florida have a better chance of getting in the top 4 than them, and that's not going to happen.
Here's the interesting one: Oklahoma and Baylor, because they're going to play again for the Big. What is the name of the conference?
That is
the. Is it the Big 12?
Big 12, yeah.
It is the Big 12. I said the wrong conference for Ohio State a while ago. What do you do with them? I mean, they're going to be a one-loss. You're going to have a one-loss champion from that division.
Right. Well,
And I understand that conference doesn't play defense, but
I think Utah beats Oklahoma, and I think they get in the top 4. And I see Florida sliding up to 6, and Oklahoma drops down to 7.
And then who do you think the Utes are going to get in this?
The Utes are pretty daggum good. They're an all-around team. I like how they play. They kind of remind me a little bit of Oregon. Oregon just had a little bit of trouble the last game they played. If Oregon would have won, they would have been right there in the thick of it.
See, I have a hard time with any of those teams because they don't play defense. I mean, the only hope they have is outscoring other people, and
Hey, when they score that many points, you really don't have to worry about defense, do you?
well, when you can't. But the question is, can you score that many points against good defenses?
Right.
I mean, which you don't play. Right. I mean, if you look at it, when is the last great defense that come out of that division? I mean, maybe Oklahoma back when Bob Stoops was there.
Yeah, when Bob was there.
I mean,
better believe it.
Speaking of that,
you hearing rumblings?
I'm not going to say what the rumblings I'm hearing is, but Saturday you will supposedly know who the new head coach of Florida State will be. Yes, sir.
Urban Meyer.
God, get out of here with that nonsense.
Oh, Dallas Cowboys are looking at him, and I was like, oh,
Please.
I'm like, oh, come on, Jerry
I'll take
Jones.
the Tidy Bowl, man, please.
I was like, don't look at Urban Meyer. He won't be able to handle the pressure. He will crack the first 2 or 3 weeks of the daggum preseason games. He will crack because he won't be able to take the pressure from the fans. I'm telling you, Dallas Cowboy fans, they're freaking brutal.
I'll take Jason Garrett at Florida State. I'll take him because I think he'd be a better college coach than he is an NFL coach. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a good NFL coach. Of course, he's never coached anything else, but that's all right too.
Well,
So,
I'm going to ask everybody, after this weekend, after all the conference plays over, who do y'all think the top 4 football teams are going to be?
yeah, okay. We want to share. We'll share our.
We'll share ours
thought. After the playoffs. After not the playoffs, but after the conference championships.
After the conference championships.
Gotcha.
Who do we think is going to get in?
Michael, who are you thinking?
Well, I think the top 3 are a lock. Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. That fourth one's going to be that's a sticky wicket.
Sticky wicket.
I don't
You know, one of the SEC teams is going to be out.
Yeah, and I'm struggling with that one. I'm gonna say. See, I want to say Georgia, but they're gonna lose. LSU's gonna. I think LSU's gonna beat Georgia.
That's an intriguing game to me because if Georgia brings their A game and they play like they can play, that will be an extremely good football game. I think
agree.
LSU will still win the football game.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's always those sometimes crazy things that happen in good football games. Somebody returns a kickoff for 100 yards at the end of the game.
Or a pick six or something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
there's just no telling. Like I said, any given Saturday.
It's intriguing. It's intriguing. So,
What do you think, Dave?
Well, I'm thinking almost what Michael's thinking. Ohio State #1, LSU, Clemson. Clemson's been tough. They've been playing really good, and I'm not sure about the fourth one.
Really, yeah.
I'm not sure. What are my picks for the fourth one?
Well, you got
Utah.
Georgia and Utah Utes and
Oklahoma and Baylor.
Baylor.
Don't forget. Don't put
Yeah.
Baylor out of this because Baylor could go back and beat Oklahoma.
I'd probably say Oklahoma
Think so.
for my fourth one. And that's just a guess. But when it comes down to the 2 teams, I think it's going to be Ohio State and LSU.
How about you, John? Who do you think is going to be the top 4 after?
I think the top 3 are gonna stay, and I think Utah's gonna move from number 5 to number 4.
I agree with you. That's where I'm at. Clemson's not going nowhere.
No,
Definitely, Clemson's not going nowhere.
They're
LSU and Georgia is going to be a close game, but I'm like Byron. I think LSU pulls it out. I think they'll at least win by 6
Now,
over Georgia.
If they don't bring their A game, and they play them like they played some of the other opponents they had, LSU is going to beat the brakes off of them.
But do you think LSU still gets in with only one loss? Could Georgia wouldn't have that luxury, but LSU would have that luxury with one loss.
Do I think if Georgia beats LSU, if LSU still gets in, the answer is yes, I do
too.
Especially if it happens on a fluke. I believe that it'll stay exactly the same as it is now, and then we'll get all sort of whining and crying about we have conference champion with 1 loss and another SEC team with 1 loss got in again is what we'll hear.
Right. But it is very possible.
It's very possible, and that's the scenario that makes me think that we should have more playoff games than 4.
Right.
I think there should be 8.
I think so too. Like one thing that me and David Rodgers was talking. I think it was Saturday. We think the winners of each conference
Should play
for the national title.
Sure.
Just like in the NFL, you have all the divisions, and they go to a playoff and they play for the
I could deal
national
with that.
title.
I could get
So-
on board with that. But then what happens is you leave out one loss really good teams. You have two dominant teams that are ranked, say, between 1 and 4 all year long.
We have the same thing happen in the NFL all the time.
And then, well, the wild card games in the NFL too. So I mean, but I think you have to have some way to get to a little bit different result than the winners of each team, because you start putting Pac-12 or Pac-10 or whatever that division is that has Oregon in it.
But you never know. Oregon can throw up some points on you. Oregon can throw some points up fast. And also talking about the American Conference, like, with Memphis and UCF, both of those teams
Can score.
they can
points
score
fast.
3
Yeah.
touchdowns on you in 3 minutes.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, they can.
they are that quick at scoring.
But
It makes it really exciting, though.
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So, I mean, I think
Well-
it'd be pretty neat to do it that way.
It would be a cool way to do it. It definitely would.
What do y'all guys think? Do you think it should go to the point where each division has a representative to play for the national title
I wouldn't have a problem with that. And by the way,
and just see how it turns out?
the Final Four for me is LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, and I'm just going to leave this out there: the winner of the Utah-Oklahoma game.
Right.
Is who I think that needs to happen like that. Now, the only monkey wrench that could possibly happen is the LSU-Georgia game. If Georgia beats LSU, I don't see how you don't put LSU in.
Yeah, you still.
I
I think you
just-
still
I-
have to leave LSU in there
I don't-
as right now.
I don't know how you
with
don't do
one
that.
loss, and then again, Florida fans, I'm sorry, but Florida's not going to sneak in any shape, form, or fashion.
Okay, Florida,
But they are a good 2-loss team. Though.
Florida, you
But-
could beat Ohio State. I'll give you that. But you don't want to mess with any of the other teams that's there.
Right.
I really believe that. I may eat my words for this, but I believe Ohio State is a paper tiger. I do. I believe they could get beat by Wisconsin this weekend.
Well, and I want to mention some stuff that's going on locally with sports. The Bradford Middle School girls won last night a real close game.
Really?
So they won last night, and so congratulations to them. Just want to let everybody know, I know football season's over, but hey, you can still support your Bradford High School by going and watching basketball. You got wrestling that's coming up pretty soon. Track and field's coming up down the road, not too far away. So you show your support. Even weightlifting is coming up.
Sure.
Because a lot of these guys who play basketball, weightlift, run track and field,
And play.
they are also our football players.
Yeah.
So go out there and watch them and support them.
Oh yeah. You definitely want to go out there and support the team, all the teams.
And
I remember going to basketball games, and I've been to a couple weightlifting
right.
competitions, and I think I've even been to a couple track and field. Shirley Bagwell, we've already talked about being on, and Austin Stevens is on. Good night, everybody. Or good night. Hello, everybody. Good night. See you later. No,
We know what you want to do. You want to go home and go to bed.
I want to go,
A little wore out, huh?
I want to go up and eat something. I'm starving to death, but that's all right. Carla Biggs Orr. Hey, y'all from Mississippi. Stephen Austin's. I should be there on Saturday. I wasn't feeling well tonight. Rob
Sounds
Barrett.
great.
I think LSU is going to take it all, and Rob, it's very possible. Dwight Allen, I'm free from Facebook jail. Yes, sir. I'm glad to have you back, brother. Tom Bailey, Bill Clark, the UAB coach, and he's talking about at FSU.
Right.
I don't know anything about Bill Clark. That's not what I'm hearing through the circles that I'm hearing it in, Tom. I'm hearing somebody that's already been there with his family. I'm going to leave it at that. There's only one coach I know that's been there with his family. Would you take Bill Clark at FSU? Do you know who Bill Clark is?
I really don't watch University of Alabama Birmingham that much, so
I really don't know who Bill Clark is, Tom. I really don't. I don't know a whole lot about them. I just want somebody that's going to discipline the team,
Right.
Because the talent's there. They should be winning 8-9 games a year on the down years with the talent that they have.
Right, well, I was right. They are going to get a bowl game.
Well, yeah. It's the Poland Weed Eater Bowl, and they'll probably play Utah State or somebody like that. But that's all right.
Hey, but
let's hope they play Utah
But you
State.
made it in.
The rumor
you
that I
made
heard,
it into
the
to a
rumor
bowl game.
the rumor that I heard was they were going to play UCF, and I really don't want to see that.
Well, that might
That's
be.
that's a disciplined team there, and they may get the brakes beat off of them in that bowl game.
They will be shocked when they throw up 28 points in the first quarter.
Well, yeah, I mean they're running the offense that we're supposed to be running, and they do it a heck of a lot better than FSU ever thought.
Because of discipline.
Because of the discipline, yeah. I mean, it is what it is, and I believe that whoever the coach comes in, he's going to be pleased with the talent that's there, but he's going to have some work to do to stop some of the nonsense that goes on. I wanted to see Bill Cowher come in. That was him or Mark Stoops. And it looks like neither one of them are going to be there. And I know I wanted to see Bill Cowher's face on the sideline when they do stupid stuff, because I guarantee you we'd have the
he's
helmet
going to do
grab.
some.
We'd
He's
have
going
the
to do
helmet
some
grab
chewing.
thing and go, boy, what are you doing?
He's an old school coach.
Oh yeah.
And you know, sometimes you need that little kick in the rump to get you straightened out.
I mean, you know, the whole thing is designed when coaches do that old school is to get you where you want to go. They want the team to play well. They want to be successful coaches. They want the universities to be successful, or the NFL teams to be successful. But what they do is they forward your own career, because if you do stupid things like getting penalties all the time,
Right.
or you can't form tackle, you're not going to get much of a shot at the next level. And if you do, it's going to be in the lower rounds, because those scouts are going to come look at you and go,
He can't tackle.
he can't tackle. He's going to learn how to. He definitely
He can't
gonna have
wrap
to,
up.
He can't wrap up.
No.
And then your draft stock's going to go down, and you're not going to make the money that you should make with the talent that you have.
Right.
So you have to. I would, if it was me out there on the field, I would look at it like, this guy's making me make more money and later on in life, because he's giving me more of an opportunity to actually play on an NFL team.
Right. Well, and while we're talking about sports, I just want to go ahead, and I don't know if John and Stephanie Loper's on here. I just want to let them know I haven't forgot about them, about some things that we need to do for the track program, as far as the track and the track shack. Hopefully I'm able to attend a school board meeting here real soon, and try to get that back on track of getting what we need for those young men and women out there that participates in track and field. And to me, it doesn't matter what sport your child is in. We want to make sure they have the absolute best. And I don't care if it's golf, tennis, volleyball, whatever. We want our kids and our coaches to have what they need to help our kids become better, not just in sports, but better people in general. And how can they make it to the next level, you know, if we don't do that? And on that note, I think our superintendent and our school board staff has done a great job moving forward with a lot of our athletic programs. And I just want to make sure track's not left out. I don't think they would leave them out. But I just want to jump in there, like I said I would, and help them in any which way I can.
They're not going to track out.
I know we got there's a lot of things that need to be put in place. There's a lot of things that they need. I know they need hurdles. I'm going to see if maybe we can get the hurdle carriers, so they can. It makes it real easy to put them out there on the track and put them back on the hurdle carriers, and put them back in a place where they're going to be locked up and not damaged in the out of weather. And also for a long jump and pole vault and high jump pits, make sure those mats and stuff are covered and taken care of, so they last longer out of the weather. So I just want to let everyone know that I haven't forgot about them. Of course, I never can forget about them, since I, ran all 4 years of high school in both cross country and track.
Still have records too, don't you?
Yes, I do. The decathlon, I think, may be the only one that's left. I'm not for sure. I haven't talked to John in a while about it. but I found myself upset the other day because I cannot find my letter jacket.
Oh, no.
So, and I got 2 bronze medals on there from the Junior Olympics. So I'm like, oh my gosh, where is my
man.
letter jacket out? Because one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to get a shadow box, and I'm going to get I'm going to go ahead and get another little letter B down here in Stark. What's her name? That owns Second Chance.
Second chance. Yeah.
See if I can get a B from her. And then I want a Sporting Chance. Yeah, that's it.
Caitlin Carver?
Yes. And I want to try to get all the pins, extra pins and stuff, so I can put it in a shadow box in my room with all my plaques and stuff and certificates from running cross country and track.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I was devastated. I was like, where is this thing at? You know,
You'll find it.
I
You'll
hope
find
so.
it.
I hope so, because I won't never get those medals back again.
Yeah, no.
I've already been searching on the eBay just in case someone wanted to sell theirs.
I found my letters and my pens the other day from playing sports at call. So I was like, put a smile on my face to look at that stuff.
And I'm still trying to talk to my son about kicking field goals. So hopefully we can get him to do that and help our
Getting
high
to be
school out.
a good field goal kicker would help. Yeah.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to share before we wrap it up?
Just real quick here, since we're delving into sports, a little bit of a thing like that, statement coming out of Jacksonville this afternoon and this evening indicates that Doug Marrone is most likely on his way out. There was some talk last season, of course, that they were going to let him go, and Tom Coughlin, who's the executive vice president of operations at that time, said, let's give him one more year, see how things go. Well, we see how that worked out.
Right.
The only saving grace here is that Minshew Mania is making its return. If they can pull off some victories in the last 4 games, and we'll see what happens. I wouldn't hold my breath on it, but expect to see some changes and some movement in the next couple of weeks as a new head coach search for the Jacksonville Jaguars comes into play.
Well, what you mentioned in that, Michael Heater, actually made me think of something. I want to let everybody know that Jacksonville University is cutting their football program.
Oh.
And what they're trying to do with the guys that are playing, they're trying to find them other colleges to go to.
That's sad.
And so far, it looks like every one of them will land a spot somewhere else to play football. So hats off to them trying to look out for their players and make sure
That's
they
good.
had another home to go to and practice. And also, you know, sports is one thing, but also their education is the most important because guess what? No one can take your education away from you.
Yeah.
So I want to commend them on that.
You know, you were talking about the Jaguars head coaching job. There's already a head coach in the Jaguars organization that can take that over, by the way, until they can figure out who fills that in. And some people are going to be like, not again. But you got to remember what that man did the first time he was there.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I don't believe, though, that he will go back down on the sidelines.
Right.
I think he would like to, but I think what the role he's filling now allows him a little more flexibility in
sure it
building
does.
and developing the team.
Right.
I honestly believe returning to the sidelines would actually tie his hands and hinder him.
Right.
As much as I love Coughlin, and I think he's a great coach.
I think he's one of the best head football. Well, he is the best football coach Jacksonville's ever seen.
Here's my take on it, though. I think what they need to do is let Tom shop for the coach. You let Coughlin lead the charge on getting the coach in here like that,
Cower.
and you will see some major changes coming. And don't get me wrong. Of course, now I was a fan of Jack Del Rio. I think Jack kind of got a little bit of a shaft, even though I don't think he's a good head coach. He's a great offensive coordinator, or
Right.
defensive coordinator.
Defensive
We
coordinator.
talked about him before. I don't think
we
he
did.
would be I don't think he's a great head football coach in the NFL. I think with his mentality, I think he would be a great college coach, though.
Probably so, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes that move at some point in time. But I think that if they will just let Coughlin be Coughlin and go out there, shop around, bring in a coach that fits his mentality, that winning personality, and that concept that he brought to the Giants and to the Jaguars
Right.
when we first kicked off, I could see some big things happening for the Jaguars.
Well, you got 2 of them that are on the sidelines at Dallas, and that's Richards and Kellen Moore. I know Kellen Moore is very young,
Kellen Moore would be a
but
good
he is a
fit.
very good offensive coordinator and putting the X's
And O's
and
together.
O's together.
and I'll
So
tell
he
you what,
does
and-
really, really well.
And at his age, having Coughlin as a mentor would
Would
do
be
amazing things, I believe, for Jacksonville.
Everybody looks at the Jacksonville Jaguar team and says they're terrible. I don't think they're terrible. I think they're
Mismanaged.
I think they're mismanaged. I think they're 4 players away from being an outstanding team, and none of them are on defense. I think they get 2 good offensive linemen in, and they get 2 really good wide receivers, and that team catches fire and beats people like a drum for the most part.
Y'all can't take Cooper from Dallas, though.
Well, I'm not saying that, but if you look at what they just did with the problem that they had at the DB spot, they've got 2 first-round picks over the next 2 years, and a 4th-round pick in the next year for 1 player. So they're going to have 2 first-round picks the next 2 years. So, as a general manager and a head coach, I would be salivating at that with the problems that Jacksonville has, because they really don't have that many problems. Now, I there's some people that would get upset at me for this. I think the running back that we have is a problem, because I think he only runs as hard as he can about half the time he's on the field. Right. But that's my personal opinion. I didn't want them to pick him in the first place. The player that I wanted them to pick is the number 1 running back in the NFL right now. I'm playing for Minnesota, but that's also because I'm a Florida State fan and I watch this guy constantly. No, I was not being a homer. That guy was that good, and he still is that good. Right. So,
Well,
closing thoughts.
Well, we're going to go around the table. Dave, any closing thoughts?
Just like to say that there's a lot of turmoil around the world with Hong Kong and Israel and
We didn't even
China.
talk about the Hong Kong thing tonight. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about.
why can't
Completely
we
forgot
all
about it.
just get along?
Right.
Because of human nature is the answer to that.
We need
Unfortunately.
to find a new answer.
Now,
John, any closing comments? Michael Heater?
That's it. Great show tonight. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and looking forward to a really good show after some good football this weekend.
no, sir.
Oh, yeah. Byron?
Love each other. You never know what's going to happen in life.
Yep.
Love each other.
One thing I like to say is, we're in the Christmas holidays, and this is a time that we are supposed to gather with our loved ones. If you got the time, spend the time with them, because like you're saying, you never know what the future holds.
That's right.
And we're never guaranteed tomorrow.
That's right.
So as we wrap up our show tonight, I want to absolutely thank Sheriff Gordon Smith and the entire staff of the Bradford County Sheriff's Office team for their hospitality. Also, props to our marketing and advertising guru, John Probst, for the quick and dirty, as well as Roger Cruz and Austin Stevens for the sports and weather updates. On the behalf of the entire On the Spot team, everyone have a great evening, and we'll see everybody next time.
Good night, everybody. Everybody have a good night.